So, Jack, how are you?
Hi, Nicos. Yeah, good. Thank you. Very good. Thanks. How are you doing?
Well, I'm really happy.
Go on. Why are you so happy? Because Man United won again?
No, Liverpool were knocked out of the FA Cup.
But it just shows you don't treat the FA Cup with respect. You get
Exactly,
punished.
exactly. Anyway, we go through the match. Let's start with the Friday match. It was Man United Leicester 2-1. We made it with an offside goal.
So lucky.
Thank God, no VAR.
I know. It was lucky. And it was in, well, they said it was in Fergie time, but Van Nistelrooy said it was offside time.
Uh,
Yeah.
I can sympathize with him, but I'm not sad.
No, no, you'll take it. You'll take it. You need that lucky break, the way it's going for you at the moment.
Actually, since you mentioned that, in the last 8 matches, Man United won six.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable, really. Every week,
Yeah.
I'm complaining about the performance, about this and that, but it's
And the
okay.
cup competitions are helping you as well, aren't they? In Europe as well, that's helping the confidence in that sense. But yeah, you need to
Okay.
start moving up the table. But you're through to the next round, and let's see how you get on in the FA Cup. Obviously, you're the
Yeah,
holders, so you
yeah,
want to try and
yeah,
retain that
yeah,
trophy.
but listen, Chelsea won three in the last 8 matches, and Man City five. So it's not all that bad.
Yeah, you've learnt your stats, and obviously, Man United are outperforming them. So yeah, maybe something to hold on to, maybe something
Yeah.
moving forward with.
We also had Blackburn Wolves, an away win for Wolves, 2-0. As we mentioned before, Plymouth won, Liverpool, big upset. Aston Villa, Tottenham 2-1. Another match to discuss,
Yeah.
especially Postecoglou's post-match comments.
Yeah, again, not happy, is he? We'll
No,
talk about that. Yeah.
not just that. I mean, he was really direct to say that somebody wants to sack him.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah, he's very interesting.
yeah. Leighton, Man City 1-2. I watched that match. Man City were not really good. Ipswich won away 4-1 to Coventry. Everton, Bournemouth 0-2. Preston, Wickham on 0. I mean, it was 0-0, and Preston went through on penalties. Southampton, Burnley. Southampton were knocked out by Burnley 1-0. Cardiff, again, it was a 3-3, and they went through on penalties. Wigan, Fulham 1-2. Birmingham, your team, Newcastle 2-3. And Brighton, Chelsea 2-1. Brighton, Chelsea, they will meet again in the Premier League in a
Yeah,
few
funny how it
days.
works out.
So,
Yeah. So some big teams have left, haven't they? Some big teams have left the competition. So
yeah,
that's good for Man United, good for Newcastle, and there's not many big teams left. Obviously, Man City are still in it, and you know, Villa are still in it. But obviously, to see Chelsea go out and to
yeah,
see Liverpool go out, and Arsenal already out from the last round, so there could be a surprise winner this year. Who knows?
Man United.
Well, whatever we say about Man United and how they're struggling and they're not looking good, we've said that for a few years, but they still won the FA Cup and they still won the League Cup before that, a few seasons
Yes.
before that. So they've got pedigree in the domestic cups, haven't they? So I wouldn't put it past them. It just depends who the draw is, who you get. Obviously, you knocked out Arsenal in the last round, so you've shown that you can do it away at Arsenal as well. So what did you make of that? I mean, again,
It
not
was
very good start
strange.
from Man United, was it?
No,
It was a
no, but
terrible start.
it was really strange that he started Dorku on the right side.
Yeah, that was strange. And Dallo on the other side, really odd.
Yeah. And Dalot, since he started playing on the left side, he's really poor, really. And it was another, very bad performance by him. So basically, until Garnacho came on, the feeling was that we were going to be knocked out, basically.
Yeah, it didn't look good. You needed some
No.
sort of pace, didn't you? And direct wing play, somebody who actually plays in that position. And Dallo is not a left-hand side winger or attacker, is he? He just isn't naturally. He's a good defender, but he's not. He's not who you need in that position. Obviously, he's still trying to figure out Amorim, still trying to figure out who he can put in these positions. Because obviously, in previous years, you've had Sancho who could play that position, Rashford who could play that position, but you've got Garnacho there who's been linked, who was linked with moves away, and obviously he didn't leave. So then, when he brought him on, surely he has to be the first choice option in that area. Surely, I mean, if he doesn't play that Dorgu there, the new signing, he can play. You can play him there, Garnacho on the left, but he's not got many options, does he?
Yeah, no, but I think in his interviews, Amorim looks like he fancies Garnacho. So I'm not sure whether. And also,
he likes his work rate as well, doesn't he? He likes how committed he is and his direct play. Yes. He does praise him a lot, actually, a lot more than he did with Rashford, of course.
And in recent matches, he's tracking back, trying to defend as well. So, but I have one comment to make. He's not a number 10. He's an out-and-out winger. And maybe Amorim needs to, adjust in thinking about some of these players and where their best position is. And otherwise, I don't know. It's going to be really hard for them to adjust to his philosophy and his way of thinking.
Yeah, that's true. It just seems like it feels like he's stuck with he's stuck with these players, but it feels like he is because where he came halfway through the season, which ideally he wouldn't have wanted to do, would he? But he was sort of take it or leave it, come and join us, and he's having to try and figure out how to fit these players in, and it's a bit of a nightmare situation for him because it's going to keep getting worse in the league before it gets better, isn't it? I know they've got a few more wins recently, but it's not where he wants to be. He's not used to losing matches, is he? He's not used to players not understanding his his style of play. He's not had a full pre-season to deal with these players, so it's sort of an in-between period. And it feels like he just wants the season to finish so he can just get his own players in the summer, get some players out, and work on the formation. That's what it feels like, and work on the players in his structure that he likes to play. Because he's not going to change his philosophy. He said that, so. Maybe the FA Cup can save the season. Obviously, you're still in Europe as well. But the FA Cup, if you win the FA Cup, well, that's obviously then it turns into a successful season. Even if you finish quite low down the table, at least you've got a trophy from it. So, could be a big few months ahead in terms of the cup competitions because that's probably all you've got to cling on to at the moment. Man United.
Europa League and the FA Cup, yes. But it's strange, really. You have certain profiles of players, okay? And then you bring a head coach to play this system. In this case, we have this coach that he says, this is my system, and I need the players to follow my system. But, the profiles, they don't match the system. So it's a big issue. So, I don't know. And with the financial fair play, the PSR, and whether they have money to bring in more players in the summer, who knows? I don't know. So
let's see on that one.
Yeah. So let's go to the big upset. It was Liverpool. In my opinion, Slot got it all wrong.
Big time. 10 changes, wasn't it, to the starting lineup?
It was not just that, because it was a poor performance. I watched the match. He didn't even have any of his established players on the bench.
Yeah, that was what I noticed. Yeah, it was only two senior players on the bench that
Yeah,
anybody's heard of, any pedigree, and that's just not good enough, is it? When you get up to five subs, surely he could have brought a few more first teamers down. Maybe not Salah, but a few more of the other top players, maybe some midfield players to get a hold of the ball, and sort of force their play upon Plymouth, and provide that final quality in that final third to the strikers. Obviously, they brought on Nunez, but you need. They've got one of the best midfields in Europe, Liverpool, and hardly any of their players were there from the midfield. So maybe I don't know what his thinking was, but I know they do have 5 league games coming up in 15 days. So I think he did mention that in his post match. But it's his first real mistake that he's made, isn't it? And I don't think Liverpool fans, from what I've seen and heard, I don't think they seem too bothered, which is surprising because it's the FA Cup. Everyone wants to win it, but they're obviously happy with where they are in the league, the Champions League, and they've got the League Cup final too to look forward to. So
I think they didn't expect to have the season that they are having, the supporters. That's why they gave him a bit of a leeway. But at the same
yeah,
time, maybe he thought, okay, bottom of the championship, they are over leaking goals, would manage to get through. And but all credit to them, Plymouth.
Plymouth played well, didn't they? Plymouth,
Yeah,
they were tracking back. They were closing down from the front. They just seemed to have that extra. Obviously, it's like their cup final, but they were running around, chasing down players, chasing down the keeper. They didn't have a second on the
yeah.
ball, the Liverpool players, and they're not obviously used to that. And it was just
And
a
and
brilliant
their
all-round performance.
and their keeper was unbelievable. In the end, he
Yeah,
did some unbelievable saves, but it was the passion. You felt the passion.
yeah.
And I was watching the match. That's why we love the FA Cup.
Oh, it's fantastic, isn't it? And
Eighteen
also,
thousand full
yeah, brilliant. And
capacity.
also, yeah, and then it was a full capacity crowd. But also, when they added on 9 minutes at the end, you just
Yeah,
saw the look on the fans' faces, like, "Oh no, this is so much punishment." And how they held on in those 9 minutes, fantastic. A brilliant defensive play. Liverpool corner after corner. Keeper, he made a good save, didn't he? When that Jota shot on the spin, and it was just, oh, you're just hoping for the underdog to get through. They held on, fantastic, brilliant.
yeah.
And good composure from the guy who scored the penalty as well, Hardy, the striker, fantastic. It's on national TV or people all around the world are watching it, and the pressure on that penalty, and he put it home really confidently. So that was brilliant. See how far they can go.
Yeah. What about Spurs? They lost
Spurs again, yeah.
second.
Spurs again. Oh,
I mean, second cup game in a row. They lost, and it looks like the pressure is on for Postecoglou.
it seems that way. I think their season is falling apart, isn't it? Each week, and it's been a disastrous week for Ange. And it's just been, and he's trying to defend his players and saying, look what he pointed to Liverpool and said, that they rested some players. Let's look at a team without their star players in. Look what happened to Liverpool. He said we've had this for the last 2.5 months, and he was going on about Thursday, Sunday, Thursday, Sunday. He kept saying it, in a row, saying, how much more do you want me to say? What much more do you want me to say? Because he was just blaming it on the injuries and how tired the players are. But I know he comes out with the same excuses every time. He's still got a decent enough team out there. They struggled against Tamworth to get through in the last round, so they did even well to get through. To play Villa, but and then they went 1-0 down after 45 seconds or something like that. It was so early on, the goalkeeper mistake. And they just signed that keeper in January, so I don't know what his excuse would be for that, but it's just disastrous. And they've only got the Europa League now to cling on to because a bit like Man United, they're quite far down the league, and Tottenham have to really focus everything on the Europa League to try and salvage their season. Really, it just obviously they're waiting for players to come back, and he's saying they've got a few fresh weeks, clear weeks ahead. They've not got any midweek games now, but they need to get some players back. They need to build some confidence. The pressure's all around the manager. The TV camera all the time goes to Daniel Levy in the stands, looking at him, zooming in on him, looking for his reaction. So I don't know. Will he still be a manager for the next game? I hope so. I mean, I do like him, but I think the Tottenham fans are I don't think they're too pleased with what's going on. I don't know if they blame him or the owner. It's a bit of both, I think.
Yeah,
So, what do you
yeah,
think?
yeah. But sometimes, sports is all about psychology, and it looks like they're lacking in confidence, and because they are creating chances and they are not scoring them. So if he lost the players, then okay, he's a really nice guy, and and but if he lost the players, then a decision needs to be made. Unfortunately,
Yeah, you can't just keep, you can't just keep underperforming, can you? We saw that with Ten Hag, really, even
yeah.
though
But
he had a
not only,
decent enough
but
record.
not only
Yeah.
that, they're really struggling in the Premier League, so they might be in the relegation zone soon. So it's a big
Well,
ask.
yeah, what they used to say about him is that, he's really entertaining, great performances, even if they lost 3-2 or 4-3. But now they're just losing by more than that. They're sort of getting beaten up in games and dominated, to be honest, and they're not turning up to games. There's not even a performance to be proud of, let alone the result. That's their problem. But I just want to talk on about the Birmingham Newcastle match because aside from obviously being a Newcastle fan, for the neutrals, it was probably the game of the weekend. Not for the result, because obviously that was Plymouth, but the actual occasion and the spectacle. It was a fantastic match. I don't know if you saw any of it, but the crowd, full sellout stadium, live on BBC in the UK, and it had all these fireworks before the game. It looked like the Super Bowl before the game. It was incredible because they've got these US owners, Birmingham. They've got a bit of money for where they are in League One, but they took the lead really early on, and they were really in the faces of the Newcastle players, really like snapping into challenges. It was really old-fashioned cup tie, really. Obviously, no VAR. It was a bit strange because we had that goal. Just we didn't know it crossed the line or not. The Murphy goal, and it was like, oh no, the Willock shot, and it to be honest, it didn't look like the whole ball was over the line. But that's the talking points we said. You got to accept the referee's decision. Actually, the linesman gave it, but I'm not sure he was in a good position to give it. But anyway, and then Birmingham came back again, and then Newcastle got the late. They came back and got the late winner. But it was an absolutely fantastic match, really like a throwback game, and it was really enjoyable. Obviously, Newcastle won. It looked like it was going to go to extra time. But that was a hard fought victory on limited resources. But the difference was between Newcastle and, say, Liverpool is they played their strongest available team. And look, they got through in a tricky, difficult, conditions. The rain was sweeping down, late kickoff, but they did it. And, fantastic. And let's see Newcastle get in the draw. But brilliant to be. Newcastle are now the only team who can realistically can actually win the treble, the domestic treble. Obviously, we're not going to win the league, but they can do. They could win the League Cup, FA Cup, and Premier League. They're the only team left who can do it now. Liverpool have gone out, so I'll take a couple of domestic trophies. Will be quite nice, but. It's difficult because Newcastle have got all these injuries and they've not made any signings. They've sold players in January and last summer and not brought anybody in. For 3 windows in a row, they've not brought any senior players in who have stayed anyway. Um, so it's difficult to see. It's sort of excited, but also apprehensive because we don't know if there's gonna, everything's going to break down and all these players are going to get injured and we're going to have not going to have any much of a team for these games. But to be in and amongst it near the Champions League in two cup competitions is fantastic considering the injury situation and the lack of depth in the squad.
One last match we want to discuss is about Brighton Chelsea.
Yeah.
It looks like Chelsea, they started really well in the season and they are taking backward steps all the time. So,
Difficult moment, isn't it, for Chelsea?
yeah. And as I said before, they're playing on Friday again away to Brighton. So,
Yeah, that's not an easy one again, is it? Because Brighton, as they saw in the cup, Brighton are really difficult away,
yeah.
especially away down at their place. So, yeah, that's the big test for Chelsea. Can they respond? I mean, they've got some really good players in there, but again, the project seems a bit more longer term than this season. But their aim has to be reaching the Champions League positions, doesn't it? So the manager is under a bit of pressure there because they need to sort of arrest this decline and try and get back to regular winning ways, get more consistent with their results, and not be as up and down.
It's understandable, Jack, because when you bring in so many players, you always have ups and downs in the first season. So that's why in previous episodes I said that I expect them to push on next season.
Yeah, and also the young players, isn't it? It's the youth that they have.
Yeah.
That's also a problem. They're still learning. They're going to make mistakes, aren't they?
Always inconsistent when they're trying to get established. So interesting for Chelsea. On Saturday, we have Leicester Arsenal, Aston Villa Ipswich, Fulham Nottingham Forest, Man City Newcastle, Southampton Bournemouth, West Ham Brentford, Crystal Palace Everton, and Sunday Liverpool Wolves and Tottenham Man United. So some really interesting
game, that one.
Yes. And Newcastle's match as well. So
some good games coming up. Again, back to the league again. All eyes back on the league, and all these teams will go back to being full strength again. The likes of Liverpool and stuff. So looking forward to seeing how they go. And that's a massive game for Man United for both teams. It's huge to try and get back it, because surely both teams will be looking at it as the chance to get back into the swing of things in the league. So I look forward to seeing that one.
And not only that, we'll have again the European matches. So it will be a busy period for a lot of teams, Premier League teams.
That's right. And also Newcastle, of course, their matches against Man City. So that's an interesting one as well, especially for the battle for that top 4 or even top 5 position. So, it's going to be a really interesting weekend to review next time.
Yeah. So let's come back next week and see what's going to happen in the Premier League and discuss a bit more about all these matches. But it was really exciting weekend. FA Cup matches, always exciting.
We love the FA Cup.
Yeah. So keep well up in the mountains. Do you have snow?
Not quite, but we do a bit further up here. A bit further up from us, but it's pretty cold, I must admit. So I'm going to go and put the fire on to keep warm.
Well, you coming from England, this is like summer.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. We are lucky, aren't we, in Cyprus with the sun? Okay. So see you next week, Nicos.
See you next week.